Tonight, on the news around the world, Senate expresses concern over worsening national security. Oyo INEC announces extension period for continuous voter registration. Death toll rises to 3,535 in Venezuela earthquakes. Good evening and thank you for joining us on the news around the world. I am Adetuke Olaleye, and on the sign language corner is Shakirat Ogundeji. The Senate today expressed concern over the country's worsening security situation, warning that the abduction and killing of retired military officers by terrorists and criminal gangs represents a dangerous escalation of Nigeria's security crisis. The Red Chamber said the growing pattern of attacks on serving and retired military personnel poses a serious threat to national stability, public confidence, and the country's security architecture. The concern followed a motion moved by Senator Abdulaziz Yaradua during plenary over the death of retired Major General Al-Khali Abubakar, a former director of Defense Information, who was abducted alongside his wife in Katsina State on May 30th, 2026, and later died in captivity. Adopting the motion, senators observed a minute's silence in honor of the late military officer and resolved to convey their condolences to the family and the Nigerian Armed Forces. The Senate described the late general's death as more than a personal tragedy, saying it reflected the growing threat posed by insecurity across the country. The Senate also highlighted what it described as a disturbing pattern of attacks targeting serving and retired military personnel. The Senate on Tuesday warned that Nigeria could review its diplomatic relations with South Africa if renewed xenophobic attacks against Nigerians continue, as lawmakers condemned the reported targeting of Nigerian citizens and businesses. The resolution followed a motion sponsored by Senator Azikiwe Ekpeyong, who drew the attention of the Red Chamber to the June 30th, 2026 ultimatum allegedly issued to Nigerians residing in South Africa, describing it as grave threat to their safety and livelihoods. The development comes amid renewed concerns over recurring xenophobic attacks in South Africa, which have over the years claimed the lives of several Nigerians, destroyed businesses, and repeatedly strained diplomatic relations between both countries. During plenary, senators called on the federal government to secure firm guarantees from the South African authorities for the protection of Nigerians while urging decisive diplomatic engagement to prevent a recurrence. However, the Senate opted for a more cautious approach after former Senate leader, Senator Yahaya Abdullahi, warned that the attacks could be part of a wider political agenda aimed at destabilizing the South African country. The federal government has suspended the enforcement of the new regulations affecting internet platforms, online intermediaries, and other cross-cutting digital economy issues pending the completion of a national policy review. The directive was contained in a statement issued by the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, after a strategic meeting with the leadership of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, and the Nigeria Data Protection Commission, NDPC. The minister said the decision aims to maintain the current regulatory position while work continues on a harmonized national policy and governance framework for the digital economy. Fresh concerns over transparency, accountability, and institutional oversight have emerged in Nigeria's public sector following revelations surrounding the allegation existence of a ghost agency known as the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, PFIPC. The controversy has continued to generate public interest after the presidency publicly disowned the agency, insisting that the federal government never established it. Staff reporter Gbemisola Adebayo examines the controversy and the questions it has raised about governance and accountability in the country.
The controversy surrounding the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, PFIPC, first came to public attention after the Office of the Chief of Staff to the President issued a disclaimer stating that the agency does not exist and warning Nigerians against dealing with individuals claiming to represent it. According to the presidency, the PFIPS lacks any legal foundation, while documents purportedly establishing the agency were allegedly forged. Investigations further revealed that the alleged Director General of the Council, Prince Adeniyi Adeyemi, reportedly operated from an office within the Federal Secretariat in Abuja and allegedly secured official recognition through fraudulent means. Many Nigerians have described the development as both shocking and alarming, raising questions about how an agency allegedly without legal backing could operate within government premises for an extended period. The controversy deepened after reports indicated that the PFIPC was listed in the 2026 Appropriation Act with an allocation of over 1.3 billion naira for personnel costs, overheads, and capital projects. The development has sparked intense public debates, with many demanding a thorough investigation into how the agency found its way into official government records and budget documents. Meanwhile, the alleged Director General of the Council, Prince Adeniyi Adeyemi, is facing criminal charges, including forgery and related offenses. However, Adeyemi has denied any wrongdoing, insisting that he is not an impostor and maintaining that the matter should be determined by a court of law. A public affairs analyst, Henry Ude, described the development as a major embarrassment to the country, noting that the alleged operation of an office within the Federal Secretariat, the maintenance of hundreds of staff, and access to official structures raise serious concerns about institutional oversight.
It was a very unfortunate situation in our democratic development as a nation, because this is a monumental embarrassment. And apart from the implication to our image, it also tells a lot about the loopholes in government. And when you look at the whole situation as it evolved, there are so many questions to be asked.
Also speaking on the issue, Comrade Abiodun Bangboye described the controversy as a reflection of deep-rooted governance challenges, stressing that anyone found culpable should be prosecuted in accordance with the law.
The news around what is called ghost agency is not really a surprise. I mean, to people like us, knowing fully well that such is meant to happen in a system or in a government that rests on a system that promotes, corruption. Any government parastatal functionary that rests on that foundation is not going to have anything different from that. And that is why we are beginning to have all of these stories around, this ghost agency.
For his part, legal practitioner Honorable Fatai Adeshino condemned the development, describing it as morally unacceptable. He called for stricter accountability mechanisms and stronger institutional safeguards to prevent similar occurrences in the future.
It is condemnable that we can have such an agency that is non-existent and having budget in this country. Then, thank God, it was even the accused chief of staff that raised the issue, that opened the canker worm. If he's involved, he will not be able to do that one. What we are having is just mere speculations, what we call hearsay. By the time they are in court and we have the fact, we're able to comment fully on who is doing this, who has done this, who is to be blamed.
For many Nigerians, the case underscores the need for stronger checks and balances within the system to prevent unauthorized entities from operating under the guise of government authority. Bimisola Adebayo, BCOS News.
The worsening hunger crisis in northern Nigeria continues to generate concern, with millions of people affected by insecurity, displacement, climate change, and rising food prices. The issue came under discussion during the BCOS News and Current Affairs program, Matters Arising, where analysts examined the causes of the crisis, its impact on affected communities, and the urgent need for sustainable solutions before it spreads to other parts of the country. Our reporter, Oyeshile Oloyede, monitored the program and brings the details.
The humanitarian situation in northern Nigeria continues to deteriorate as millions of people are facing severe food shortage caused by insecurity, displacement, climate change, and the rising cost of living. The crisis has forced many families to depend on humanitarian assistance, while millions of farmers have abandoned their farmlands due to persistent attack and violence. The issue became a major point of discussion during the BCOS Current Affairs panel of eminent discussants program on contemporary issues tagged Matters Arising, coming amid public debates over recent comments by the Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Ononuga, that there is no hunger in the country. The World Food Programme, WFP,